think I was in college when I had a class, and someone had mentioned the idea that you never put your hand in the same river twice, right? And why? Well, it's because everything about the river is changing, because it's flowing. The bed of the river is moving constantly. You never can place your hand in the same river twice. And I remember being very shocked by the idea that time just goes. It just goes and goes. You can't stop it. And that is really the sense that you get from the first reading. You know, good old Ecclesiastes and Koheleth, right? Vanity of vanities. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. And even though it changes, there is this sense of a kind of a desire for that which doesn't change, for that which is solid and immovable, for that which is a foundation. And when we think about that, we can contemplate, the great reality of the incarnation and the great reality of the crucifixion and then ultimately the resurrection. Because even Herod, as he is hearing about Jesus, and people are saying, well, maybe he's John the Baptist, come back. And that would be reasonable to think, because John the Baptist was that well known. Everybody knew who he was. Everyone went out to see him. The scribes, the Pharisees, the people of all of Judea and the hillsides, they all went out to see him. Why? Because he was known to have been that prophet. And everybody thought because he was born in the way that he was born, and because everybody recognized his authority, they thought this might well be the Messiah. And it's for that reason that people, asked John, are you the Messiah? And he said, no, I'm not worthy, to tie the sandals of the one who is coming after me. And that is what is so stunning about this moment, where Herod now hears of, this person, Jesus, and he is certain of one thing. What is he certain of? Did you catch it? John I beheaded. John can't rise again. John is dead. There's no way it's John. That is what is so amazing about Christ, because he did rise. And in that moment, something entered into the flow of history that upsets everything. Now, there is a hope that even all of the change and all of the uncertainty and all of the weakness and all of the sin, all of the suffering, is there something that has entered into, this river of life that is solid, that is certain, that is powerful, that is love, that is mercy? Well, of course, that is Jesus Christ. He is, remember, the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the unchanging God. He is the Word made flesh. And in him is the truth that leads us out of the chaos of this life into the freedom of the children of God. And it's so amazing to even think about that in terms of heaven, which is so wonderful to contemplate and impossible to get our mind around. Because, I don't know about you, but when I'm really tired, I like to take a nap. Well, the sun never sets in heaven, which means that that's all you'll be able to do is take a nap, right? Because it's an unending day, right? We're told clearly in the scriptures that heaven is the place where the sun never sets, because who is the sun? Jesus is. He is the light of the temple of Jerusalem. He is the light that will then shine for all eternity, and we will ever bask in that light. And that is what is so awesome about the incarnation, because this light has entered into the darkness of this chaotic world with its woundedness, with its suffering, with its sin. And he is the only one who can lead us into a real understanding of meaning in the midst of chaos, of truth in the midst of everything that seems so relative, into, the midst of our own personal fallenness, weakness, and sin. There is one that has entered in so that he can enter our lives and have us encounter that which is unchanging, that which is ever merciful, that which is light that always dispels darkness. When we think about, different symbols of our religion, there was a gal that was very, very holy at Franciscan University. Her name was Olivia, and it actually comes to mind because there's a story about her that we had a bunch of students that wanted to go and do a very serious protest at an abortion clinic, and they had actually needed a car because they were going to empty the car of its gas tank, take the tank out of the car, and then they were going to put it up to the door of the abortion clinic and lock themselves to the frame of the car. And they needed a car. And so they thought, Olivia's got a car. And so they went to her house and she met them at the door with her keys. They all got arrested. But they were so zealous for the defense of life that they were willing to go through that whole sacrifice. And it's the same woman that someone approached her and said to Olivia, Olivia, what's your sign? And of course they were looking for, Gemini or something. And she said, and she was from Texas. And so she would say, what's my sign? What's my sign? My sign's the cross, honey. And why? Because the cross, everything stops at it. Everything rushes upon it. And it seems as though everything had conquered because Jesus died on that cross. And even Herod, he knows that Jesus can't be John the Baptist because John I beheaded. But Jesus is risen. He put a stop to it all. And when we surrender to him, he begins to put a stop to all of our weakness, all of our sin, all of our suffering, all of our uncertainty. And so let us rejoice that we turn to Christ, who is the Word made flesh and the light in the darkness, and place all our hope that he is leading us more and more deeply into that light so that we always live in union with him and therefore in the hope of heaven, knowing that Jesus Christ, who is the same yesterday, today, and forever, who is the Word made flesh, that this truth will lead us out of this darkness into the glorious light of heaven. And even as we contemplate the saints, Cosmas and Damian, they entered into the great mystery of suffering and death. And now we celebrate that they have been raised up to the glory of eternal beatitude. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.